Hi guys, I'm Rosie. I'm here today to show you how to measure your doll so that if your doll's not listed on my website, you can actually measure your doll and then go to my doll sizing page and compare your measurements to those of the standard dolls that I have on my website. And that way you can then determine which size doll clothes you need to shop under to suit your doll. So what I have here is the Welly Wishes doll. It's the new doll by American Girl Company, and I've been lucky enough to have a friend of mine in the States send her over to me. Her name is Ashlyn. And I also have the Disney toddler doll. This one's Anna from Frozen. There's a lot of different Disney toddler dolls around, but I just love the cute red hair, so I had to get Anna. So let's have a look at how we measure our doll so that we can do it accurately and we can compare our measurements to those on my website. Now, the first thing you need to have when you're measuring your doll is a tape measure. If you don't have a tape measure, I'm going to show you some options in a moment. But let's first start off with using my tape measure. So this is a small flexible tailor's tape measure, not one of these handyman or carpenter's tape measures, because they are too stiff and really difficult to bend around the small parts of our doll. If you use one of these, you're not going to get an accurate measurement. So when I say tape measure, I mean one of these soft flexible tailor's tape measures, not one of the carpenter's ones. So I'm going to pop that one to the side. We don't want that one. So let's go ahead and use our tape measure to measure the waist on my Welly Wishes doll. I'm going to wrap that around my doll, being careful not to include the hair because that will alter the measurement that we get. Wrap that around until our tape measure meets the end of our tape measure, and we can see that that meets there at 15 centimeters. So the waist on my Ashlyn Welly Wishes doll is 15 centimeters. Always try and use centimeters and millimeters because it's a lot more accurate than your inches, or you can get to a smaller measurement with the millimeters. Okay, now let's go ahead and measure the waistline of my Disney toddler doll. I wrap that around, and where the end meets is just 1 millimeter short of the 15 centimeters. So I'm going to say that they have the same waistline. That 1 millimeter is so close that it's not going to make any difference with the clothes. So I'm going to say the waist measurement on these two dolls is the same. Now, what do you do if you don't have a tape measure? Well, we've got a couple of options here. We've got some string or some ribbon, a ruler, which we've all got a ruler at home, I'm sure, and some pins or some safety pins, or as a very, very last resort, a pen. But the reason I really don't like using a pen or a pencil is that there is a risk you can transfer that ink or accidentally put ink on your doll. So really, if you can avoid it, don't use a pen or a pencil. Stick with the pins or a safety pin. Now, when you're using ribbon or string, make sure that the string that you're using does not have any stretch. This is some bias tape that I have in my sewing drawer, and it's not an ideal thing to use because when you pull on it there is stretch, and that, if you use that, you may get an incorrect measurement. So when you're using string, please make sure that there is no stretch in that string. So these two things, we've got a string here and also a ribbon. Neither of those have stretch. So the first thing we need to do is take a pin or a safety pin, or, as I said, last resort, place a mark there with your pen or pencil. Then we're going to wrap this around the doll at the part we're going to measure. Again, be careful not to get any of that hair in there. We're going to wrap the string around, or the ribbon, until it comes and overlaps or goes past the point where the original pin is. We're going to place another pin at that point where they meet. There we go. Now we unwrap that. I'm just going to place that in again a bit more securely. There we go. Then what we do, I'm just going to move the doll to the side. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to place one pin on the 0 and see where the other pin takes me along the ruler. Now that's showing exactly on the 15 centimeters. Perfect. That means this measurement is exactly the same as what I took with my tape measure. So that's an ideal alternative if you don't have a normal tailor's tape measure at home. Then you would take out the second pin, and then if you want to measure the doll's leg, we go from the top of the leg down to the ankle, and we take our pin and we place it in there where the ankle was. Again, place the ribbon along the tape measure, first pin on the 0 and the other pin that is on about 14.5 centimeters, and that is from the top of her leg down to her ankle. Oh, that's a little bit higher than her ankle. I'll just turn that sideways so we can see that properly. I should really have taken that down a little bit lower where her ankle is here, where that dent in her leg is there. So let's re-measure that. We pop the one pin on the 0 and we can see that that is just over 15 centimeters, so 15.2 centimeters. Sweet, that's our leg measurement. Then we can go ahead and measure our arm. Our arm will be from the shoulder down to the wrist. So we'll pop the first pin on the shoulder and measure along the curve, down the curve of the doll's arm to the wrist. So I'm going to hold that there and I'm going to get a pin and place the pin in here. Move the doll to the side, go back to our ruler and we'll place the first pin on the 0 and we can see that her arm measurement is 10.5 centimeters. So there we go, we can continue measuring all the things on our doll, around the neck, around the head circumference, and make notes of those. Then go across to my website onto my standard doll sizes page and compare your doll's measurements to those I have to see if your doll can fit the clothes on my website. Now, if you're still unsure, please don't hesitate to give me an email, send me the measurements you have, and I'll be able to let you know which size is better for your doll. But there you go. If you don't have one of the regular tailor's tape measures, there's some great alternatives to use in ribbon or some string. Hope that was helpful, and please send me an email if you have any questions.